It is February 26th and today is the birthday of my favorite author, Victor Hugo. And I wanted to do something special. What we're going to do today is I am going to read you some of my favorite passages and quotes from Victor Hugo's works. Of course, I made a selection. I'm not going to read through all of them. And I'm going to reflect and share my thoughts on these passages. I hope you will do the same. Feel free to pause this video whenever you want. And if you would like to reflect on these later, I will be uploading the list of all of these passages on my Substack, so you can return to them whenever you want. The first one is from Notre Dame de Paris. It is certain that the mind becomes crippled in a misshapen body. Oftentimes, we do not realize how important being healthy is until we are ill. And when our body refuses to work with us, we cannot do anything we would like to do. A healthy body is so important. And what Hugo says here, that the mind becomes crippled or sick in a sick body, it's just such a beautiful way to describe what happens when we don't feel well, because our mind truly suffers in an unhealthy body. The next quote, also from the same novel: "For those who know that Quasimodo has existed, Notre Dame is today deserted, inanimate, dead. One feels that something has disappeared from it. That immense body is empty. It is a skeleton. The spirit has quitted it. One sees its place, and that is all. It is like a skull which still has holes for the eyes, but no longer sight." This is exactly what I feel when I visit Paris and look at the Notre Dame Cathedral. For me, it's empty because I know the story so well. It's my favorite book of all time, and it is like this with many places. For example, the Palais Garnier in Paris, the Opera House. It's almost as if you can feel that the phantom has been there, and these places become even more magical because of the stories we carry in our hearts. The next section is a bunch of quotes from Les Misérables. "Be fortunate and you will be thought great." This resonates because I think it is true, and being fortunate, being successful, depends on so many things: where you were born, how you were educated, your childhood, your family, your friends, how much money you have, your health. A great part of this is just pure luck. Next quote: "He loved books, those undemanding but faithful friends." Of course, I selected this because characters in books really become our friends, especially when we find characters who truly resonate with us and we want to return to them over and over again. So just like we rewatch movies that we love, we also reread the books that we love, and it just feels amazing to revisit those characters that we love or that we love to hate, and they become almost real. Like the great books have characters that feel like they truly existed, and yes, they become our friends. Next quote: "No one is more avidly curious about other people's doings than those persons whom they do not concern." In other words, mind your own business. Next quote: "Diamonds are to be found only in the darkness of the earth, and truth in the darkness of the mind." For me, this means that we sometimes have to dig deep and into the darkness, into the darkest corners of our minds to find truth. And truth can be hard to accept. We often don't want to see what is there, but sometimes you just have to face the truth and face reality. And the next quote, which is probably one of my favorites from Les Misérables: "Like everyone else, he had a label, since at that time nobody could live without one, but his ism was of a non-committed kind. He was not a royalist, a Bonapartist, a Chartist, an Orleanist, or an anarchist, simply a bookist." And this resonates with me so much Because nowadays everyone has a label. People also really like to label other people and put them in boxes. And I don't like that. And I see myself as a bookist and nothing more. And that's enough for me. Next quote. Teach the ignorant as much as you can. Society is to blame for not giving free education. It is responsible for the darkness it creates. Hugo often talked about how important education was, and if more people would have access to education when education would be free, there would be less crime, there would be less trouble in society. And I fully agree with this. When you're living in this kind of box and people from high above decide what you can know and what you cannot know, and when you have limited access to information and knowledge, it will make your world so small, and yes, it will create darkness. Next quote. He had come to prefer books to events and poets to heroes. I am someone who, I'm kind of a recluse. I just stay inside with my books, and I write books and I read books, and I spend time with fictional characters much more than with real people. I have just a few friends, which is more than enough because I love giving them all of my attention. I will always be there when they need me, and I have deep conversations with them, and it's always wonderful to see them and to talk to them. But I do spend most of my time just inside with myself, in my inner world, and with the books that I read. Next quote. Destruction may be necessary, but I mistrust it when it is inspired by rage. This is a reminder that rage and anger are one of the most dangerous emotions, because we often, in anger, say things that we wouldn't have said if we had been calm. And it's always recommended to cool down. Whatever happens when something very upsetting is happening to you, it's important to calm yourself down first, reflect before you enter the discussion. And the final quote from Les Miserables is, "What is a turmoil in a city compared with that of the human heart? Man, the individual, is a deeper being than man in the mass." External disorder is nothing compared to the storms that are going on inside our own hearts. The greatest struggles are going on internally. Next, we go to the book An d'Island, Hands of the Iceland. Crime itself revolts at crime, and two evildoers conversing with all the cynicism of intimacy, of their pleasures and their interests, are like a fearful mirror, each reflecting the other's monstrous features. There is a certain hypocrisy in wrongdoing. A liar does not like to be lied to. A thief does not want his things to be stolen from him. And of course, a cruel person doesn't want any cruelty directed at him. Next, I have some quotes from the Rhine, and the first one goes as follows. "Did you ever remark that history is often immoral, while tales and fictions are moral, virtuous, and decent?" Yes, Hugo, in fact, I noticed that. Usually in books, the bad people are punished at the end, and we have a morally satisfying ending. But unfortunately, that's not how it works in real life. Next quote. "I am easily contented, provided I have vegetation around me, an air above me, a road in view, and a road in my rear. I have nothing to complain of." Which reminds us that we should be grateful for the little things in life that we often take for granted, like a blue sky and the sunlight hitting our face and drops of rain sliding from the window, just nature in general. Which leads me to the next quote, "Nature is the most accomplished of artists," which is a very beautiful way to say how beautiful nature is. And the last one from this essay, Ruins give rise to legends, but legends confer on ruins immortality in return. And this leads me again to the first quote about Quasimodo and the cathedral now seeming empty because Quasimodo isn't there. And ruins are just such a beautiful thing. Like there is something magical about buildings that have been destroyed, touched by time. Something about that really speaks to me. And yes, when we build stories around ruins, around buildings, they just make the place even more special. And then finally, some quotes on his postscriptum of his life, which I, by the way, highly recommend. Now, I have read this in French and my quotes are in French, so I am going to translate these freely. These are not official translations, these are just my translations from the French. Close the book now. Reflect. You have seen the stars. This is such a magical way to say how beautiful the experience of reading is. Next one. Some works are what one might call excesses of beauty. They do more than illuminate. They strike like lightning. Given the laziness and cowardice of the human mind, this lightning is a good thing. Again, he writes so beautifully about the process of reading, his love for books. It's just so amazing, so beautiful. Next quote. Give yourself not a goal to be something, but to be someone. I just cannot tell you how much I love that. Next quote. A wise man doesn't grow old, he ripens. This is so beautiful. I hope we all get wiser as we grow older. And the final one. They say that to love is the blindness of the heart. I say that not to love is its blindness. Thank you so much for watching. Happy birthday to Victor Hugo. And I, of course, hope to see you next week.